go live. Here we go. It looks like we're okay. It's still preparing. My team is going to be upset. Okay, Kelly, I need a. How do I say your last name? I practiced like 6 times before this.
Bielema.
Bielema.
Bielema. So it's like Jessica Biel.
Biel.
Always Oma.
Bieloma.
Yeah.
Bieloma. Because I watched your airs the air scream video like 5 times to try to get it.
No, don't even worry about it, because there's like people I've known for like 30 years. They're like, Kelli Bielema, and I'm like, it's Bielema. Work with me, people.
Bielema. Like, I literally was like,
Bielema. I have it in my Facebook profile too, where it says like how to pronounce your name.
Bielema. Let's see if I got it. Well, I feel like I got it. I feel like I got it. Feel like I got it.
I think you nailed it.
Yeah. Oh, look, we got 5 viewers. Hey, Maggie. Hey, Monica.
Ooh, it's a genuine party.
It is a party. Okay, 2 minutes and counting. If you are tuning in, if you're watching this after the live, just know you got to like skip through like the first 4 minutes. Just fast forward through that.
There could be some gems though. You never know.
You never know. You never know.
I did want you to know that I have my disco ball sippy just for you today.
I feel so excited about this, and I know how you feel about vehicles for beverages. So,
oh my God, you have to have the right vessel. It's an experience. No, it's totally a thing in like beverage brand, and it's something that we did at no joke.
Vessels for your disco ball. Disco ball. Very exciting. 1 minute and counting. So I will do a couple announcements, set up stuff, and then we'll jump in, and then hold the line after we shut her down. Because I'll have a bunch of stuff to say. Oh. Hey, Teresa. Bielema. Teresa has the pronunciation.
Oh, is Teresa Hamilton Bielema on?
No, it's Teresa Sabadago. Teresa, I did it again. I'm just butchering all names today.
Quite all right. Let's see in here.
Yes, I've been Keita, Keith. All of the versions. My middle initial is H, so I have been Keith quite often.
Oh.
Like when you see my full name right next to like, yes, Keith Williams. Nope. Oh, it's 3:00 on the dot, so we can move on about pronunciations. Hey. The value of live. So hello. I am Keita Williams, and I am the founder and chief strategist of Success Bully. And thank you for joining us for the 5 days of focus. This is our live show. So we've been doing this every Monday, or I say like we've been doing this for years, but this is our Monday jam. And so this is my way. Oh, hey, Shelly. To get motivated for the week, we've been inviting on interesting guests who have amazing backgrounds to share with us their thoughts on goal setting, productivity, tracking, all of those wonderful things that we really enjoy here at Success Bully, that we're really passionate about. And so before we get into all of that, I do have some brief announcements. The 5 days of focus, we'll be doing another challenge. We have selected a date. We've caught our breath. We've regrouped. We've debriefed. So we'll be doing a 5 days of focus challenge on October 12th. So invite your friends, your family, your network, your account buddies. Feel free to join us for the 5 days of focus challenge. And that's going to start October 12th. If you have questions, concerns, issues, or problems, you want to reach out to your personal concierge. If your first name begins with the letters A through M, Monica is going to be your concierge, and I have to say it like that every time. If you're A through K, if your last name begins with the letters L through Z, Maggie is your personal concierge. I messed that up, ladies. If y'all want to clarify that for me, that would be great. Oh no, I think we lost Kelly. Oh no, the internet. Okay, well, I'll just keep talking. And so, with that, I just wanted to remind you all that we are going to be doing another challenge, and to reach out to your concierge to get registered. We want to make sure that you are registered so you get all your information in time. We're going to be adding some text message features alongside this challenge. We'll be shaking it up a little bit. So, you definitely want to grab your spot while you can. Be on the lookout for other referral contests. We'll be building the group. Um, Going forward. So with that, hold on. Let's the internet will allow us to be great. Hey, no the value of live. You gotta love it live. You gotta love it live. Well, you
Oh
look
man,
fabulous.
hold on.
Okay.
Well, okay, anyway, continue.
So I'll do your bio while you get settled. Don't worry.
Great. Thanks.
Look over here. Look over here, everyone. Yeah, look over here. So 5 days of focus challenge coming up. You gotta love it live. So our special guest is Kelli Bielema. Bielema, did I say it right?
Bielema.
Bielema, I'm gonna get it. Bielema.
Okay.
Kelli Bielema, I'm gonna get it after we finish the interview. I'll have it perfect. Kelli Bielema. Bielema. With all the exclamation points. So let me give you a little backdrop on Kelli, because like this is there we have a magical love story, but I'm gonna give you her backstory. Then I'm gonna give you our magical love story. And so Kelli is a multidisciplinary cat herder with an emphasis on creative brand activations. This like warmed my heart because I have herded cats in my day. With over 25 years in events and entertainment production, she's brought to life such experiences as Halloween at Universal Studios, amazing marketing activations for Red Bull, and EDC in Las Vegas. So she's done it all. She's also run her own event production agency called Shindig Events, and she's produced for Facebook, Adobe, Boeing, and like the who's who of the industry. She has received a number of accolades internationally and locally. Oh, I love it when I can read accolades. Best meeting and event planner in the Northwest. She's got a whole part of the country that she's the best in. Listen, and she is currently on phase 4 of her latest creation, which is called the Airstream, which is a mobile karaoke lounge in a vintage Airstream. What is that, a van trailer? What do we call it? What's an Airstream categorized?
It's a camper trailer, you could
camper trailer that's going to come to life for events and festivals. So let me tell you our love story. If you've been following Success Bully for a while, you know that we are just over 3.5 years old. We'll be 4 years old soon. What? And my business was conceived and incubated at the first F-Bomb Breakfast Club. And the F-Bomb Breakfast Club is a group of female founders that get together on the first fucking Friday of the month. Sorry, Mom, I cursed. I've been trying to work on the cursing in, but that's what it is. And we get together and we talk about what entrepreneurship is, and we talk about what we need and how we can support one another. Well, in January 2017, that was the first breakfast. There was approximately 22 of us in the room. And, I made this crazy statement about, this is what I'm doing. I'm like a success bully. Let me know if you want me to kick your butt too. After breakfast, we were kind of chatting and mingling, and Kelli walks over with her phone in her hand and says to me, we have never met. We have never met. It says to me, I collect URLs for fun, and successbully.com is available. So you should buy it, or you'll have to buy it from me. And that was the kick in the pants. Yeah, that was like the first kick in the pants. And we had coffee after that, a few weeks after that. And we talked about my business plan. And like Kelli was just so nurturing to me as a baby entrepreneur who had no idea what the hell she's doing, who's still, day to day, who knows what I'm doing day to day, and has continued to be part of the storyline, like whenever I need to have a conversation about what I'm experiencing, what's next, Kelli has always made herself available and has always been that voice of reason, where like I feel like she has offered mentorship in a way that was accessible and made sense to me. It wasn't like a lot of high level, well, what you need to do is have your ROI should be and your run rate should be It was like, no, actually your business plan should be like 3 pages for a service-based business. It was like and so I am eternally grateful for all that you've done for me over the years. I don't know that I would have gotten out of the gate had it not been a challenge to go get the URL. So I want to personally thank you for all of that. So now that I have talked about our love story, I want to hear more about share with our group more about your career arc, because you've done the corporate climbing, you've been a full-time entrepreneur, you've done the side hustle plus entrepreneur, and there's been a lot of fluidity. So tell us more about your background.
So it all kind of started. I have a bachelor's degree in theater arts acting, which will all make sense the more you like see and hear me talk. Mm-hmm. And there's something about the production element of being in live theater that has always been something that energized me in a way that I probably wasn't able to commit to when I was younger, because I was like, oh, I'm an actor and I got to do this and I got to be funny and blah, blah, blah. And then it wasn't until I was in Los Angeles and realized that after a number of years of doing it, that I was like, yeah, I don't think I want to do this. I don't think I have the drive for it. I mean, I enjoy it, but do I want to make a career of it? So I had, and during the time that I was acting, I also worked at Universal Studios Hollywood at the theme park. And I worked there for a total of 7 years, but I did tons of event production and mostly entertainment related, obviously, because it's a theme park, but a lot of tie-ins with the studio. So there would be events on City Walk and blah, blah, blah. So I had like experience managing people, managing process, working with vendors and celebrities and the press and all these other sorts of elements that ultimately, it probably wasn't until I moved to Seattle, because I was kind of jumping all over the place, but.
Oh, no, I love this story. Go on.
But like, okay, so when I was at Universal, I kind of realized there was a bit of a glass ceiling, that I wasn't really going to go anywhere. And I looked at other careers in the entertainment industry and considered going into casting, because I liked working with people. And I found that I was really good at having an eye for like casting people. And I didn't want to start over. I didn't want to start over with like pay. I mean, I knew how to do it, and it would have been like, oh yeah, can I come in for an internship and get paid nothing for a year, and then get paid $10 an hour and all this kind of stuff when I have the knowledge base. So I just decided to leave and just kind of figure out whatever I was going to figure out. And that's kind of been my path my entire life. I'll figure it out. Just
there's got to be freedom in that, though.
There is. It's kind of, it's a little bit of blind faith and sheer stupidity, probably, to just like go like, whatever. I mean, it would always terrify. My parents are like, what are you going to do? I'm like,
talking sense into you. Well, where are you going to live? How are you going to eat?
all those things. And that's what I always do, is just figure it out. So I worked for a time in healthcare administration, obviously, but
next logical step.
but again, like all these jobs I had in between before I moved to Seattle were very, I guess, necessary for all the work I do now. And so I came to Seattle when I was doing a gig at Universal. We had to travel up here for something and it got canceled. So I had a little extra time to just fart around town. And of course the weather was total garbage. It was disgusting, but I'm like, I love it here. And so I came back again to make sure I loved it here. And I did. So I just made a plan. I didn't have anything tying me down really in Los Angeles. So I came up here again, hardly knowing anybody, no plan. And, ultimately ended up working at Deloitte, the accounting firm, because of course, once again,
next logical step,
obvious employers for a person like me. And I worked in operations facilities, managed some people, and did more corporate event stuff than I'd done before, a little more on the dry side, if you will.
Yeah.
And then, we had a big old financial crash, and I really started to contemplate, what am I doing? This is the worst time to like go look for another events job. But I started plotting shindig events. So in my last year of being at Deloitte, I did it very part-time, very weekend, very summer and did social events. And I knew doing the social events would at least let me cut my teeth on starting a business. So from there, it just sort of opened up the next step to doing corporate stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even remember what your question was, but it was
that was the background question. So, but like, I think that what I love about this is that, there's never an either or.
Sure.
It's a yes and,
Mhm.
right? And like, even when I think back on my corporate career and those times where I hated my job, I didn't like the people I worked with. I didn't like what I was doing. Part of the reason why I can do these interviews is that my background's in public relations. I was always in charge of media training. No one else wanted to do it. I loved it. And I would give mock interviews to prepare executives to not look like a jerk in an interview.
Sure.
And so like this thing that I hated it. I hated the job. This part I liked, and like I got to take that with me. You get to steal a little bit from work. You get to add those tools to your toolkit. And so I think that that's amazing.
Yeah.
And so my piggyback question on that, because I like to piggyback.
Yeah.
So when it was time to make a shift, when did you do, like, what was kind of your rubric for that decision making? Where you just like, did you hit a ceiling of doneness, or was it the right time to move? Like, what is usually your thought process when you're ready to make a shift?
I usually need to have a gut instinct about something, and that's what I had, especially when it came to, if I was going to leave Deloitte and go do this full time. And it just so happened, and again, it's through knowing people and relationships. I had a coworker who knew somebody that worked at Boeing that said, hey, there's a contract gig coming up. It's part-time. It's kind of event related. You want to talk to these people? And that propelled me to be able to leave Deloitte, do that, and really start to pursue being an event business owner, having no idea what I was doing. That's fine. But it was just sort of that gut feeling of this is the right move.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk more about trusting your gut.
Mm-hmm.
So like, how have you fine tuned that skill set? Like, does your gut, like, I feel like my gut is in the whispers. Like I find what I should do in the quiet. How do you listen to your gut?
Lately it's almost like I don't ignore it. I don't. The minute I hear it, I'm just like, yep, exactly. I think there's whispers to your point where you ignore. You're like, oh, well, that happened, and we'll move on. We'll work through it. And then something like that happens again, and I'm like, why does this keep happening? And it's like, oh, I get it. I'm trying to receive a message, or a message is coming to me that like my inbox is full with other crap, so I need to allow it to come in.
Oh yeah, I definitely think in the times where I have not listened to my gut,
Mm-hmm.
or I've tried to override it, it has always blown up in my face. It has either been like some emotional toil, some financial cost. It has always blown up in my face. So
I feel you. Yeah.
So let's talk about, in the land of events and with the pandemic, I imagine that has changed the entire industry. How has that personally impacted you? But also, how do you see it impacting the way that we attend events, participate in events for the long term?
Well, in particular, because I started the Air Scream and we did our first sort of open house event, like I think it was 2 weeks before the Washington State shutdown. And I mean, the response was great. It was like having all these conversations and everything, and then boom. Mm-hmm. So as far as the short term, like immediately, it was like, oh, okay, well, we're just not going to be able to do it for a while. Like thinking the end of summer, everything was going to be
right.
Obviously, that did not happen. So in the interim, I made sure we had all the safeguards in place for like sanitizing and, only have so many people in and out, and really keeping, and not that we were even able to do any of that, but I wanted to have a plan in place. Mm-hmm. So then, as we're getting into it, like come like May, like right around Memorial Day, which is another pivotal event kind of weekend, then it was like, oh, yeah, this is going to be a lot longer in terms of when we're going to be able to actually be in business again, quite frankly. So, what do you do until then to keep your business afloat? So, long-term wise, the thing that we've done with the Airstream is obviously I had to put everything on pause.
Right.
And not take any events because we can't do it until phase 4 when you can actually have microphones. And that probably won't be until next year.
Right.
So that stinks. So then, so what am I ultimately going to do for income?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at ways I can, that P word, pivot
the P word.
Yeah, the P word, my talent and skill set to do other things. So that's currently what I'm scheming.
Oh yeah. Well, I definitely think, and I think that like with all that's happened, I've loved that like you've handled it with grace. Like of course I'm not in the behind the scenes. I haven't seen like the full freak out, but even like because we had our full freak out. I'm not gonna lie, there was a freak out over here too, because like I'm on the road speaking most of the time, and that was our marketing tool.
Right.
Everything got canceled that first week of March, so there was a freak out. There was a freak out, but like even the community building that I've seen you doing around it, the social media engagement, there's still like you're still doing it. You didn't just say, oh well, I tried to get involved with the Instagram live karaoke party. My Wi-Fi shut down just as I'm getting ready to close it out with my closing number. Get ready, we'll talk about closing numbers in a second. So like for the Airstream, you actually did a Kickstarter campaign.
Right.
And I know that that's been kind of a theme that we've been seeing with some of our guests. So I'd love to ask, like, what was your biggest learning during that Kickstarter process? Like, what would you share with this group? Because I know we have a few folks that are contemplating Kickstarters.
Well, I think primarily the reason that my partner Vanessa and she's a full-time DJ and has been a vendor and friend of mine. We actually met at Deloitte for a long time. And when we schemed this whole thing up, we looked at, okay, what platform do we want to use? GoFundMe, where we could raise like $5,000, or Kickstarter, where we could raise $5,000 and not make our goal. GoFundMe, we'd have $5,000 to apply towards something, but then we have to figure out how we're going to raise the rest of that money.
Right.
So the reason we did Kickstarter is the all or nothing, which again is another like kick in the butt.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But when you get this money, guess what? You're going to do it. You're doing it.
Yeah, so it's a thing now.
Like we're sitting here like, are we going to do this or not? Because if we don't get the money, we're not going to do it. And there was a point when we were like, I mean, honestly, a few days before it closed out, because I mean, we got our last $2,000, I forget what the amount is, donation in the 11th hour.
Oh, I would have been sweating.
I mean, 30 minutes before the thing closed.
I would have been sweating. That was a sweating moment.
It was crazy. So in doing that, and I had done a Kickstarter before for another event, and I hired a friend who does that kind of consulting. So it gave me more of a sense of like how to market it and how to effectively do updates and posts and all that. So I felt like I had that under my belt, which was great. But this time we had a video shot by Vanessa's husband, who's a videographer, and he, that was like so good. And then, when you have a good video and good content and a good idea and really good copy, your rewards are tangible and not, I mean, you don't want to have like 500 kinds of rewards and all that.
Right.
And you make them concise, specific, and like everything just makes sense in the copy. And then we were chosen as a project we love, which is what they do when they
right when they really like something.
And especially if you have a little momentum at the beginning. So if you have, and it's kind of nice, a little insider tip, if you have people that are like, I'm going to give you, like a nice chunk of change, like $1,000 or whatever, then you can just kind of tell those people, hey, I want you to wait. Can you wait until like 5 days before the campaign ends? Because we know we're going to get close. Or like, there's a time during the campaign when things start to and they just stall, and you're like, ugh, it's nerve-wracking, right?
Right.
But also keeping it within a window of 30 days is usually, depending on the size of your project, 30 days is great, because anything longer, people will just really fall off.
Yeah, they move on.
Yeah, and if you do it too short, they'll be like, "Oh, I missed it," which they're gonna do anyway, regardless of how long it is. But yeah, people need tips on Kickstarter. I'm happy to help. Again, it depends on how mammoth your project is, and if you need to hire outside help, which I definitely recommend for some folks. But we were pretty scrappy.
I love it. I love it. So then, knowing that the Air Scream is all about the karaoke, if you will, what are some of your go-to numbers? Like, what if you got up and did karaoke right now? What are you gonna do?
Lately, I've been doing a lot of yacht rock because I'm practicing, because I have the time to do it.
Makes sense.
So that's been fun. I am known for my renditions of "What's Up" by Four Non Blondes, and I know a lot of people do that. I also like doing "Roxanne" by The Police. I do it jazzy.
Okay, so it's got a little smoky feel to it, like you're stretched out on a piano. I like it.
And it's a little more scatty. It's more like, why don't you put on the window?
Okay, I love it. I'm here for it. So I have a closing number. I know, like in my repertoire, I do enjoy doing J Lo's "Jenny from the Block." I do enjoy that. That's a good one. And then the Tina Turner from the Mad Max and was it Thunderdome soundtrack? Yeah. "We Don't Need Another Hero." Yeah, that's a good one. That's in my canon, if you will. Yeah. And then my closing number, it doesn't matter what part of the world I'm in, but when I'm ready to go home, my closing number is "Careless Whispers."
Oh my God. Yes.
By Wham, George Michael. I don't know what period that is, but yeah. And I have a whole da 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 da. It's a whole thing. It's a lot of shoulders. It's a lot of wave your hands from side to side. It like mic drop.
We need to have that happen, and I can't wait until we can. Like, my God.
Absolutely. So that is, I have photos. I think I was in China for a business trip, and we were on like this boat that was permanently docked, and it was all karaoke rooms.
Amazing.
And I magically got this rhinestone encrusted karaoke mic, and it was like, this is what I've worked hard for. This moment.
Well, and it's a feeling, right? And it's like the being in, a foreign country, being on a boat, being in that space, that environment. I mean, that's why we created the Air Scream. It's like, it's an environment and an experience. I have a friend, her husband was like, they came over one night, she loves to karaoke. He's like, no, I'll try it. You could not get him out of the trailer.
Right. It's always the, I'll try.
Yeah, he's like addicted now.
Okay, so let's talk about my two favorite subjects.
Okay.
Let's talk about goal setting.
Okay.
Let's talk about goal setting. Because when you have a big, hairy, audacious goal in front of you, which, that's your jam, how do you usually approach it? How do you go about breaking it down into steps and executing on it?
Well, oftentimes I have a million different things going on. So I try to dedicate time every day to that particular project. And we'll take what's going on right now in Air Scream, for example. So there's not a lot going on, but there are things that I need to do for, say, my website, because the website right now, there's not much happening. And I need to, again, make a list of what exactly needs to happen in order for that to come up. I mean, again, it's perfectionism syndrome, where you're like, oh, I can't do anything until it's perfect, so therefore I can't do anything. Done. So like, what are those things that I can chip away at? So lately I've been chipping away at the platform of the website. So I actually have like 3 different versions of the website right now, and I'm still tweaking around with them until I find the right one that I can navigate. So spending time on it every day, and even if it's like just 10 minutes, because oftentimes I'll be on it 10 minutes and I want to throw my computer in the garbage because I'm having so many frustrations with
I understand.
trying to do stuff that is not necessarily in my wheelhouse, and I can't afford really to hire anybody to do it right now. So why frustrate myself further? Just chip away at it a little bit every day. So whatever the goal is, it's trying not to put too much on your plate at once, I guess.
I like that, because that is definitely something that we encourage our clients around, the idea of it's so much easier to maintain momentum than to do the start and stop, start and stop, start and stop. And if you can commit to doing 30 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, 30 minutes a day, every day on it, you are going to see something happen, right? There is going to be something that happens. It's when you go, oh, I'm only going to work on this on Thursday, and then not touch it again until next Thursday, or you have a setback and you are, when I first started, I used to do this all the time. There would be like some minor inconvenience, and then I've got to stretch out on my fainting couch, like, oh, what are we going to do? And, just be paralyzed because I had one setback. Whereas, I think that as I've I'm at the toddler phase of the business, that like, yeah, there are going to be shitty days. There are going to be those, but that doesn't mean tomorrow I don't do something. That
Right.
means, yeah, I maybe I got to do a little more tomorrow to make up for the crap. So yes, definitely doing something daily. And breaking it into those manageable pieces. I think sometimes what I've seen quite a bit as we've done this for a while is that oftentimes people set these big goals, and then they break it down into chunks. And then those big old chunks, it could take you weeks to complete a single chunk, and it doesn't feel like you've made forward motion. Where if you break it down into those little nibbles, every nibble feels like you're moving somewhere. So, oh yes, all the things. Okay, let's talk about productivity.
Okay.
Did you like that thing? I know that as an event producer, you have to be fearless about time management. So tell us, like, how do you protect your own time, and how do you keep projects on track?
I always keep a list
Mm-hmm.
of everything I have, like project wise. And then I start my morning. Well, let's back up, because I always have to start my morning with some sort of movement, exercise, walking the dog or working out or whatever. So every morning, that, shower, breakfast, get dressed like a normal person going out in the world. So I have that routine down.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then, so I have a list of my projects, and I look at each one of them, and I kind of, it's kind of old lady of me, but it's very Franklin Covey system, where it's prioritizing. So what's the priority today? Which one am I going to start with? And what is the priority within that task? So it's something I used to do when I had Shindig, was I would go through each of my clients. Okay, this client, do I have anything to do for them today? Nope. And then just go down. So it's really taking a look at everything I have on my plate, because there's always little things. There's one, there's one thing I have to look up and like send to somebody. And there's always one little thing on each of those that needs attention. So just going through it real quick, and then going back and doing anything further on that one thing on my project list is then broken down to like, I do the time chunks.
Oh yeah. I think that that's important, because I with the prioritization piece of that, because like I think we can all get so busy, and we have these never-ending to-do lists, and just because you had this really long to-do list and you did a bunch of stuff, it doesn't mean you did the right things. It doesn't mean that you were impactful. So like the priority bits, and I think that as I've gotten, one of the way, like when I'm looking at the stuff I have to do and I have to prioritize, like as a business owner, I prioritize the money first. Like who has already paid me, what's going to make me money. And like, because there's definitely that moment where there's all these things you could be doing, but like, okay, but what actually makes money? So that's where I need to focus my attention. So like, yes, prioritize. Don't just be busy. Prioritize, be impactful. Make sure that you're laddering into your goals, and that you're laddering into those projects that make sense. All right, are you ready? Lightning round.
Oh boy.
These are random questions about you that I just want to ask. Okay. So I know you've been a vegan for years.
Vegan vegetarian. So
Vegan vegetarian.
definitely, I will be honest. Yes.
So, what's your advice for newbies that are thinking of switching to a plant-based diet? What would you suggest?
You know what? There's so many resources now. I mean, I started in 2007. I first started out vegan, and I mean, you'd have to find blogs or like magazines or books and stuff. Oh my God, books! Remember books?
Remember books?
And now with Instagram, I mean, that's where I get most of my ideas and stuff. And there's a lot of people right now that are doing things so much more accessible. Like Tabitha Brown is amazing.
Love Tabitha Brown.
Oh,
I don't
get
know,
over
like,
it.
Collar is not
I mean,
acting right.
the fact that when I first discovered her, I'm like, oh, well, she's not measuring anything. I don't do either. Like when I cook, when I bake, different story.
Yes,
like,
that's science.
Yeah, that's science. But when I cook, I don't measure anything. So it's, and I was like, well, how much is she using of that? And how much? But then she's like, because that's your business. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to put more garlic salt on this. And I love that attitude. And it's such a refreshing approach to eating plant-based, because the thing about veganism and all that is like, it can be very uppity and annoying. Mm-hmm. And so she's a great example of it being approachable and accessible.
All right. Leaders are readers. So what are you reading?
Well, here's one thing I'll share. My friend Ariel wrote a book called From Shit Show to Afterglow.
Who will be on the show next week?
Yay! Shameless plug. I'm a notoriously slow reader, but I'm getting through it because it's good and it's very useful right now. And then I've got a number of anti-racism books that I've started, and I'm going back and forth. Mm-hmm. I can never just sit down and read one book. I have multiple books going. I have a bunch of shit. Same thing with like Netflix shows. Got a bunch of things going. I also read cookbooks.
Get into it.
Yeah, because I love it. And there's so many great, like I've got a really good tiki book that I'm reading now, and about, cocktail recipes, and it's like pretty pictures.
Yes, now I want to do tiki. Okay, so in parting, so we're gonna land the plane here. What's your advice for this community of goal getters? What is the one nugget you want them to walk away with?
You got to start somewhere. So just hit it. I mean, I think that's the thing too with entrepreneurship, and you touched on it earlier too. It's like, just pull that Band-Aid off and do something. And if you fall on your face, you'll get right back up. I mean, it's all these things are very cliche that I'm saying, but they're cliche for a reason because they're honestly true.
They actually work.
and if you don't start, I mean, you're just going to keep stalling.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think that one of the things that we kind of laugh about is like the idea of imperfect action trumps perfect, what do we say? Perfect procrastination.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So like, especially whether it's entrepreneurship or working on a big goal or some, creative process, it's never going to be as sexy as you think it's going to be. It just
100%.
Sometimes you do not hit the ground running, you hit the ground rolling.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's a good one. No, for sure.
Like I roll, sometimes I crawl, sometimes I got it. I actually had a friend say to me that she didn't want to do something because she was scared that she would fail and it would be so public. And I was like, the people that you think are watching actually don't care.
Right. Exactly.
And I fail at least 3 times a week.
Same.
Minimum 3 failures a week. That's what we're working with. Yep. But on top of that 3 failures, there's usually 10 wins.
100%.
So thank you so much, Kelli. This is just a wonderful conversation. And thank you for sharing and amplifying us and being such a support system during the last almost 4 years of Successfully. Can you believe it?
You did.
It's a team of us.
Yay. I know. It's so crazy. I'm so proud of you.
So thank you. I'm looking at the comments. Rachel has all types of shout outs for you. She said, baby steps, get on the bus. Shelly says Magic Mike, literally in reference to our glitter mic.
Right.
I don't see that there were any questions. So with that, thank you so much. Once again, I am Keita Williams, founder and chief strategist of Success Bully. Thank you for joining us for the 5 days of Focus Live. Like I said, make sure that you stay involved with the community. We'll be doing another challenge October 12th, and I look forward to doing this again next week. All right, let's get after it. All right,
Bye.
so hold tight.